AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, welcome back, Chicago. You're listening to Get Down to Business. I'm your host, Shalom, Klein, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Brooke Elder, the owner of Social Tenacity. And Brooke is probably the term from everything that I've seen, is a teacher. You are an educator, and you use those skills to help others build teams and expand your business's reach. So, Brooke, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show this evening. Welcome to Get Down to Business.
Thank you. It's so fun to be here. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Absolutely. So, Brooke, you have a very impressive book of experience, and you've used your experience as a teacher, as we said, to help educate other businesses. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I started teaching. That's what I went to school for. And so I was an elementary school teacher. And after I started having kids, I was like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. But then I got super, super bored. So like most moms that leave like the corporate world to stay home and get bored, they join a network marketing company. And that's exactly what I did. And through all of that, I learned a lot about how to build teams and do everything all online. And during that time, I created a training center because I'm all about teaching my people. And within 3 months, I had 10,000 people using my training center. And I'm like, there's something to this. And so that's when I launched Social Tenacity, where I train all sorts of network marketers how to build their businesses online.
You certainly do. And I know that you have, obviously from being hands-on in that line of work, you understand how things were and how things are now, and you have improvised. So tell us a little bit about from the time that you were, I believe, an online business consultant for Go Coconuts Design, how things have changed even just over the past 10 years.
There's been a lot of changes. I mean, when I started doing all of my online marketing, Facebook didn't even have Facebook ads. So that's how far long ago this was, And so things definitely have changed, but really it all comes down to your messaging and your purpose and being able to talk about the things that you're passionate about and your gifts and talents and strengths. Those are the things that are always the same. When you have a mission, it may be a different way to deliver it, but when you are delivering your mission, it really is the same no matter what.
Absolutely. And I know you are really passionate about helping women, entrepreneurs, women in business. And I'm really curious, what are some of the tips? I don't want to take all the tips because you have a podcast and you have a lot of advice that you share through free resources on your website as well. And of course, we'll make sure our listeners know how to find it. What are some of the tips for women in business specifically that have helped you and that you might be willing to share with those listening this evening?
Well, I think being a woman in business, it's not, I would say, very common, especially I have 4 kids at home still and I homeschool my kids. And so you definitely have to have a lot of great time management skills. And so I talk a lot about time blocking, and I have in the mornings from the time I wake up till 11 o'clock, that is my family kid time. That's when we do school. That's when we do things as a family. And then I have my work time. And then at night, I have family time again. And so just making sure that I have those boundaries set up so that way when I'm being mom, I'm not guilty that I'm not working. And when I'm working, I'm not guilty that I'm not being mom. Setting those up of how it's going to work. And everyone's different, but that's probably the biggest tip. Because I think as women, we kind of beat ourselves up a little bit about all the things we quote unquote should be doing. And it just helps to be able to set the boundaries.
So you exemplify work hard, play hard, being able to be the best at everything that you do. And that's really admirable. And that's great advice. And you also have helped business owners really all over the country scale to build a team. And that is a really big milestone when somebody goes from their own idea or their own opportunity and suddenly it's bigger. You have this aha moment when you realize, I just can't do it on my own anymore. And I could actually do so much more if I add people to that process. So walk us through some of the challenges and perhaps some of the advice that you share on getting to that point.
Well, I think some of the challenges, especially for most people who are entrepreneurs, are very driven. And when you're very driven, you want to do everything yourself because you know the best way to do it. So letting go some of that control was probably the hardest thing that I had to learn how to do. And to let somebody do it their own way, but it still gets the result that you want, or at least very close to the result that you want. And I had a mentor tell me once that if you have someone else that can do a job at 80% as good as you, that's good enough. And you have to be okay with that. So a motto that I live by now is done is better than perfect. So as long as it's done, it may not be to like my 100% expectations, but as long as it's done and it's working and functioning, like you got to let it go and it'll be fine.
Really, really interesting. And it is probably one of the hardest things that I hear from folks all over. And it doesn't always work properly, does it, Brooke? Sometimes you have people that you work with, whether you actually employ them, they work for you, or whether we're going to talk network marketing in a second. But even if they're sort of representing a brand that you have created, it's really painful when something doesn't work out, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And sometimes you have to let people go. And I've learned that it's as soon as you know that that's the moment, like this is just not going to work out, it's best to just cut ties where you're at. Because the longer that you like string that out, the worse it gets.
Oh, absolutely. So there is a term that you have, the secret society. And I just want to sort of deal with the elephant in the room, so to speak, over here. A lot of people associate network marketing as a spam. Let's just call it what it is. You don't believe that is always the case, and you are the secret society. Tell us a little bit about your sort of why you feel that way and your approach to vetting opportunities.
Well, network marketing, when done the right way, which is a way that you're building that's authentic, you're building around your gifts, your talents, your mission, it can be a very successful and very fulfilling business, and it is not spammy at all. So the reason we have the secret society is because we are a group of network marketers who want to change the face of what network marketing looks like. And I think that network marketing sometimes kind of gets the shaft of like, we call it like the redheaded stepchild of network or of entrepreneurship, because like everyone like doesn't really want to look into that, but it actually can be a really good vehicle for especially women who don't have a lot of startup money that want to do something that makes it their own, but do it in a way that's not bugging your friends and family and sending the, hey girl, hey, haven't seen you since high school, but buy my stuff kind of messages.
Sure. And we don't have much time remaining, but I do want to ask you if there are any specific success stories that you can share. Feel free to share with a name or without a name, whatever you're comfortable with. But you've been doing this for quite a while, and I have the fortune of seeing the look on your face. Our listeners don't, but you are so passionate about this, and I know that passion is contagious. Tell us a little bit about one of your success stories.
So my favorite success story is about Kristen. She had been in network marketing for 4 years, never really got anywhere. And then she came to me and we were telling her about her mission, her purpose. And when she finally figured out what that was, she ended up changing companies. But with that company, within 6 months, she was a 6-figure earner. She had earned a car. She had a huge team and all of this. And it's all because she got connected to what her mission really is.
Oh, that's awesome. And you have been through this experience hands-on, so you know the advice that can be provided. We've been chatting with Brooke Elder from Social Tenacity. As going back to how we started this conversation, Brooke is a teacher, and she can teach you how to build teams. And Brooke, you have a podcast. You have a lot of advice and information available on your website. Our listeners, I know, have questions. How can they get a hold of you?
So the best way is to, one, if you want to learn more about us, to listen to our podcast called Authentic Influencer Podcast. And the other way is we do have a Facebook group called Authentic Influencer Marketing. And we are in there all the time, going live, answering people's questions, all of that. So those are the two best places to find us.
Awesome. Well, appreciate your time. Appreciate all of the advice that you've shared on Get Down to Business. And I'll look forward to checking back in with you and hearing more of those success stories over the coming months.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. And here on Get Down to Business, we are the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Whether we're dealing with coronavirus or not, whether you're working in the home office or you're in your corporate suite, we want to provide all of the tips, advice, and information. So check out my website, shalomklein.com. We just had the 6-year anniversary of shows. Lots of great resources, content for you. Spread the word. Friends, colleagues at shalomklein.com. We'll be back in just a moment.
In just this past week,